There is still no peace in sight after nearly 3 hours of meeting held in Anchorage City in Alaska, a state in the United States, US, between President Vladimir Putin of Russia and President Donald Trump of the United States, over the war Russia launched since 2022 in Ukraine, which has led to thousands of deaths, mostly Ukrainians, which President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine, who was not invited for the meeting on Friday, in a statement said that it was time to end the war, but Russia must take the necessary steps to a genuine peace deal. And while commenting on the statement made by the President of Poland, Karol Nawrocki, on Friday via X social media platform to mark Poland Armed Forces Day, which coincided with the day Putin and Trump met in Alaska, President Zelensky said that Ukraine's independence strengthens Poland's independence, and we must always remember that the miracle on the Vistula was made possible through joint efforts, and it saved Europe. And the Polish President, Karol Nawrocki, had said that today we celebrate the 105th anniversary of the great Polish victory at the Battle of Warsaw in 1920. The Polish army, together with Ukrainian forces, successfully repelled the Red Army's westward march, safeguarding Europe from a communist revolution. For centuries, Russian imperialism has been a mortal threat to our freedom. Poland's political tradition teaches that Russian expansionism rests on a legacy of domestic despotism, in which the only free man is the ruler himself. But precisely because Russian despotism is the enemy of freedom, Russian imperialism can only be defeated through an alliance of free peoples. My nation halted Russian imperialism at Orsha, 1514, Klushino, 1610, and Warsaw, 1920. It was probably a cynosure of world attention when Air Force One and Russia presidential aircraft officially wheeled down at Joint Base Elmendorf as President Donald Trump and President Vladimir Putin met face to face for the first time since the war in Ukraine started on February 24, 2022. And the Friday meeting marked the first time President Vladimir Putin of Russia was stepping on Western country soil since he launched the war against Ukraine. He was able to meet Trump in Alaska because the US is not a member country of the International Criminal Court, ICC, that issued a warrant of arrest against the Kremlin leader since 2023 over alleged war crime in Ukraine. It would be recalled that the Russian President, Vladimir Putin, did not attend the 2025 annual Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa summit known as BRICS Summit in Brazil due to concerns over an International Criminal Court warrant for his arrest in connection with alleged war crimes committed in Ukraine. According to the Kremlin aide, Yuri Ushakov, President Vladimir Putin did not attend the summit due to certain difficulties in the context of the ICC requirement, adding, in that context, the Brazilian government could not take a clear position that would allow our president to participate in this meeting. Instead, the Russian leader joined his BRICS colleagues via video link. Putin was declared a war crimes suspect since the ICC named him in a March 2023 arrest warrant over the mass deportation of Ukrainian children. Co-contestants in the last concluded general elections in Nigeria and former Governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, has faulted President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's trip to Brazil and also condemned the president's frequent travel abroad at any slightest invitation and abandoned pressing issues of insecurity and other deplorable situations that make the nation bleeds. Specifically, Peter Obi said, "The situation we find ourselves in is deeply worrisome. Our president, who has not found it worthy to visit any of our troubled states, takes joy in traveling to foreign countries at the slightest invitation or excuse, often departing several days even before the events he's invited to." The presidency had in a statement on Wednesday said that President Bola Tinubu will depart Abuja on Thursday, August 14th, for a two-nation trip to Japan and Brazil. The president will stop over in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, before proceeding to Japan. In Japan, President Tinubu will attend the 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development, TICAD9, in the city of Yokohama from August 20th to 22. With the theme, Co-create Innovative Solutions with Africa, TICAD9 will focus on Africa's economic transformation and improvements in the business environment and institutions through private investment and innovation. It will also promote a resilient and sustainable African society for human security, peace, and stability. In addition to attending plenary sessions on themes linked to the conference, the Nigerian president will hold bilateral meetings and meet the chief executive officers of some Japanese companies with investments in Nigeria. Initiated in 1993 by the Japanese government and co-hosted by the United Nations, UNDP, the African Union Commission, and the World Bank, TICAD is a triennial conference held alternately in Japan and Africa. The last one took place in August 2022 in Tunisia. The forum fosters high-level policy dialogue between African leaders and development partners. At the end of the TICAD-9, President Tinubu will leave for Brasilia, the capital of the Federative Republic of Brazil, on a two-day state visit from Sunday, August 24th, to Monday, August 25th. This follows an invitation by the Brazilian president, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. While in Brazil, President Tinubu will hold a bilateral meeting with his host and attend a business forum with Brazilian investors. His delegation, comprising key ministers and senior officials, will explore opportunities to strengthen cooperation and sign agreements and memoranda of understanding, MOUs, with the Brazilian government. Bayo Onanuga, special advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, stated on August 13, 2025. Peter Obi, the Labour Party presidential candidate in the last concluded general elections in the West Africa country, in a statement on Thursday, said, "Again our president moves as the nation bleeds. Amid the deplorable state of our nation in all ramifications, we have a virtually indifferent president who has continued to display insensitivity to our situation. How can anyone explain that a president who came from Brazil recently and met the federal government of Nigeria under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has ordered the Commissioner of Police in charge of Lagos Airport to withdraw the one-sided and obviously biased court case the Nigeria police force may have wrongly instituted against an Ibom Air passenger, Comfort Emanson, who was seen in viral videos retaliating and defending herself physically after a group of Ibom Air personnel and Lagos Airport team had attacked her and provoked her to action. The FG position on the issue was made known by the Nigeria Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo, in a press release the minister signed and made available few minutes ago. Although Festus Keyamo reversed himself and acknowledged that the issue was a case of confrontation between the 26-year-old passenger and the staff of Ibom Airlines, who in the new press release admitted that the staff of Ibom Air and the Lagos Airport Authority team acted wrongly, but the minister did not state how the attacked passenger would be compensated, most especially when her chest sexual organs were seen to be deliberately exposed after a suspected Ibom Airlines staff pulled off and tore the passenger shirt with obvious intention to expose the passenger's nakedness. The action of the federal government may ease the tension among millions of people who have accused the Nigeria police force of aiding and abetting the Ibom Airline company to continue to attack and oppress the offended passenger, Comfort Bob, who is also identified as Comfort Emanson, by thus supporting the statement of Ibom Air management, who in their first press release made statement that seems to have some level of deliberate falsehood and raising up a dead issue to win undue public sentiments, manipulate the Nigeria police force to help them secure detention holding charge from the Lagos State Magistrate Court to further oppress and intimidate the attacked passenger. Specifically, Ibom Air stated in her first press release that, shortly after the plane landed at Lagos Airport, the passenger waited for every other passenger on board the plane to disembark, and thereafter, without provocation, went to one of the plane hostesses, Juliana Edward. The Ibom Air management described as purser, stepped on her, forcibly tore off her wig, removed her glasses and threw it to the floor, and used her footwear to assault her. She slapped her several times, and when the other cabin crew member tried to intervene, she slapped her too. She then attempted to forcibly remove a fire extinguisher to use as a weapon, an act that could have damaged and grounded the aircraft. Soon after, the Ibom Air management released the statement on Monday, a video surfaced on the internet that probably invalidated the statement of the IBOM Air management and stood out as an acceptable evidence that the management of IBOM Air are people who may be rightly described as pathological liars who probably believed in telling lies as a way of managing crisis and handling difficult customers' relations, as seen in the viral video that surfaced the internet after the apparent falsehood of IBOM Air management. The attacked passenger was seen politely telling the air hostess, Juliana Edward, to leave the doorway so that she can disembark from the plane. The seeming aggressor in this matter, the air hostess Juliana Edward, refused to yield to the appeal of the passenger, and IBOM Air management in their first press release confirmed that the air hostess, Juliana Edward, deliberately blocked the door.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.